You are listening to the Gritty Podcast, where we talk about all things gritty. Morning, folks. Welcome to the Gritty Podcast. I am your host, Brian Call, and today my guest is Pedro Ampuero from Spain. We're on a Zoom call here, and Pedro, what time is it there? Because it's 6:30 a.m. here.
So it's 2:45 p.m.
in Spain. Okay.
Yeah. So
we're going to have... I'm good. How are you doing?
Fine.
You're traveling the world, it seems.
Yeah, I'm traveling tonight to Greenland, so a little bit overexcited. I don't know. The luggage is pretty full, so I need to recheck that I'm under the weight limit of my luggage, so kind of stressed out with everything, with the permits, that the boat is going to arrive properly, and that I didn't forget anything important.
I have done a lot of international hunting myself. I feel like I've done a few trips over the ocean and in different countries, but I'm like a child compared to you. Like, I'm a newborn baby in experience compared to you. You've traveled all over the world to hunt. I mean,
yeah, we have traveled quite a bit. So yeah, so if every different country has their different regulations, and then the luggage is lost or is delayed or something happens, so it's always the traveling part. It's really stressful. Mm-hmm. But when you make it to camp and everything is right, is when I relax and I have a good sleep.
Because you've hunted in Mongolia, you have hunted in Pakistan.
Yeah, I mean, like, we have hunted a lot in Asia, like Russia, Kazakhstan, Pakistan, Mongolia. I don't know what else. Azerbaijan. So we have hunted a lot over there, but also in Africa, around Europe. So it's tricky. And the thing about when you go with the bow is that some of the countries don't know anything about the bow. So because the rifle, it's a bit easier. It's a pain, but they know what a rifle is. But when you open the box and you show them the bow, it's like, nah, that's not a bow. That's different. It's like, it is a bow.
Oh, because they're expecting to see like a recurve or a traditional bow, not a compound bow.
Yeah, and you get to the customs and there is that guy that opens the box and there is a broadhead and he's like, no, that's a weapon and we need a special permit. He's like, no, this is sports equipment. It's not a weapon. It doesn't have... Show me the license of the bow. It doesn't have any license, which is a pain because it's easier when you have paperwork, but at least in Spain and in Europe, it is not considered like a weapon, like a rifle, so you don't have a license for the bow.
That's crazy. I mean,
it's the same as in the US. You don't have any paper for the bow.
Right. Which I like when I go to New Zealand, for example. The next time I go, I don't think I'm going to bring a rifle. I'm just bringing a bow, just because of the hassle of trying to bring a rifle to New Zealand. With all the new rules, and it's like, man, if I just bow hunt, it just makes it simple.
I'm pretty sure that the future is going to be that most outfitters are going to have their own rifles.
Yeah.
Because we typically like to bring our own rifle because you don't trust the outfitter, but the future is going to be that the outfitters are going to have a great rifle with a great scope, sight in and whatever, and you don't have to bring anything because some countries and some airlines, like if you go through London Heathrow and some other airports in Europe, they are a pain. The rifle is going to get stuck. You're going to have to pay extra. Some airlines don't get the rifles. So when I went to Scotland, I had to change everything. So
I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the trips you've been on. Like I'm going to ask you, like, what was some of the most fun trips? What were some of the most scary, like where you felt like you might never return home? You know, some dangerous trips. Like, but before we get into some of that, let's talk about Pedro for a little bit. Let's get to know you a little more. The audience here that's listening. Who is Pedro Ampuero? How old are you, Pedro? Roughly.
30. I'm turning 35.
Ooh, getting old. So turning 35. So
yeah.
And you started hunting with a bow at a really young age.
Yeah, when I was 14. So, I mean, like I started with the rifle, then with the shotgun, with open sights, stalking deer. And when I was 14, I started with the bow. Here in Spain, we have a lot of hunting opportunities. So, and it's pretty expensive to hunt because everything is like, you have to buy the tags and everything is private and all that. So my dad was like, why don't you grab the bow and try to learn with the bow instead of that freaking shotgun that you are shooting way too many animals. So yeah, and I started with the bow back then, but I still do hunting with everything. I hunt with the bow, with the rifle, with the shotgun. I don't really care. I think the weapon is just, I mean, it's more the way you hunt than the weapon you're using.
Yeah, I agree. I think every hunt is so unique and interesting. The thing I'm looking for the most is an adventure, a challenge. And you can have an adventure with a bow. You can have an adventure with a rifle, a muzzle loader. You can have the adventure on so many levels. We have a pretty wild adventure every year, usually in the late season, hunting muleys with rifles. And then, in January, we'll pop into Arizona and chase coos with a bow. And it's all pretty fun. The weapon is not really the point, but I do love shooting bows. There's something about that just is
and
rewarding.
the bows forces you to make an adventure. Like, there is nothing easy about it, but it's true that there are some rifle hunts that are harder than some bow hunts, and depending on the terrain, where you're hunting, how you're hunting. So I don't think it's just the weapon, it's about how you hunt. And also, I don't think always you have to do the hardest thing in the world. Like, I think that sometimes you have to hunt to enjoy, and it's not a matter of I'm doing something harder than you and I'm shooting a bigger, deeper buck than you. I'm having fun, and I think it resembles a lot to mountaineering. Some days you want to hike the hill behind your house and have a fun walk with a buddy of yours and enjoy the mountains, and some days you want to spend 10 days under the cold climbing really hard. And so hunting is the same thing. So
how were you introduced to hunting? Because in America, if you grew up in a hunting family, you might have been out hunting since you were a little kid with your dad here and there, and we have also a lot of public land, so hunting opportunities are available to everyone. Everyone can get a tag as a resident, generally for a pretty decent price, and especially out west, there's public land everywhere. You don't need a lease, you don't need private property, and we can just poke out and hunt. But what about you in Spain? How did it all happen for you? That is hunting really common in Spain?
In Spain, it's really common. There is a lot of hunting opportunities, but we don't have the format of public land very accessible. You can do whatever you want because it's a small country and we have 40 million people in a country that is the size of Texas. So there is a lot of hunters. There is, 800,000 hunters. So, there is a lot of hunters, a lot of pressure. So even we have a lot of game, it's more control. So it's not as easy as I'm going to go and do whatever I want in public land because there is not enough land for everyone. So it's more control, but everyone can have access to different levels. So my dad has been a huge hunter since he was 18 because my grandfather wasn't a hunter, so he got introduced at a later age, but he has hunted a lot, and we always have been lucky to have hunting opportunities and a couple of hunting areas shared with friends to hunt roe deer, red deer, wild boar, and all that. So,
you showed me a picture of your dad, black and white photo. I don't know how old it was, really old. Where was that? And how old was he then? Because he's been doing this. He's been doing he's been doing hunting all over the world since he was young, right?
Yeah. And back then, he's now 73, and we are hunting every year somewhere around the world. So he really likes hunting. And back then, when he started, it was a complete different thing. I mean, one of the trips he did to Africa, he just rented a car, went with the car, tried to find some people to help him around. So I don't know, it was a complete, he was used to book the hunt in Russia just by letter. So you are sending a letter to someone, he's sending the letter back 1 month later, and then you're booking, wiring money, He has been arrested in Russia. He has been, I don't know, he has got a lot of stories. So he has traveled a lot. And I'm working and trying to see how I can make happen, because I think I mentioned to you that he has all his hunting trips filmed from the 70s to now. Every single hunting trip film. I mean, not like professional film, like for a movie, but like telling where he is, what, like he will record in 8mm, put audio afterwards. So because the cameras didn't have any audio, so he will film everything, go back home, get a microphone, and just like voice over everything, explaining the trip. So I want to grab all those. I think I digitalized everything, and they were like 80 tapes.
Wow.
And get all that content and try to tell that story, because I think the progression and everything, I don't think anyone else in the world has that type of content.
No, it sounds like nobody was trying to record stuff back then, in that way. Not very many. You have the Eastmans, you can go back into some old Eastmans footage where they filmed some hunts back in the day. When I kind of think of vintage hunting film, I kind of think Eastman's, the original stuff way back when. But looking at the photographs and stuff of your dad, he looks so young, and he's in the clothes they're wearing are just, they're not.
The one in the airport, like when they're waiting at the airport with those pants that they open a little bit on the bottom. I don't know how you call them.
Bell bottoms. The bell bottom pants.
That they look like from a film of Narcos, that they just made a huge delivery in Cameroon or something.
That's right. Big drug deal they just finished. Yeah, that's
I'll send you the photo so you can put it on.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more then about your dad. So he begins hunting at a younger age. He's definitely dedicated to finding a way, even when you have to write a letter to people in Russia. I mean, your dad found a way to go, and I kind of, in some ways, am envious of how it was a long time ago, where there weren't a lot of rules, and you just kind of, could really hunt some animals and species. I still hear from old guys that were able to go on a grizzly hunt for like $500, At the same time, now we have a lot more game than back then. We've managed it better. But it's definitely become more expensive to hunt. You can't hunt like they did back then.
I think depending on the areas, like Asia, it's way better now than it used to be, because now like the government and the people have understand that hunting has a value, and it's important to keep those goats or those ibex and manage them properly. While, for example, Africa is just way, way worse. Like some of the countries in Africa, they don't have any game. Like the game is gone. So my dad used to go to Africa, and they will not even talk about antelopes. I mean, when you can shoot 6 buffalo, elephant, and all that, who cares about the antelopes? You're not going to waste your time in antelopes when you can keep hunting buffalo. So, like, the amount of game that there was in Africa compared to some of the countries nowadays, it's huge. But Asia, it's better. But according to him also, some of the animals, especially in Asia, they are so expensive that it has lost a little bit of the wilderness, or like the wild aspect of it, because it's so expensive, the animal, that they can put a guy controlling a specific animal all day long. So when you arrive there on day one, they will take you to shoot that big argali or that big marhor or whatever, because the cost of having 2 guys scouting is nothing compared to the value of the animal. When back then they were arriving to the area, they didn't know where they're hunting, where the argalis were. So
yeah, I when you came and hunted with Ryan, myself, and Brady for bears, you passed on that bear on the first day. We're walking down. I think we were only hiking like 2 hours or something, and then we spot that giant bear. You spot that giant bear, and you're like, bear, and I come around the corner, and there it is, and you kind of saw him briefly, and then he laid down, and we knew he was big. And then as we watched him longer and longer, we started to realize that's a really big bear. And you made a decision not to shoot the bear. you're like, no, it's the first couple hours of a hunt. I don't want to shoot yet. And explain why. Like, what is it about? What was it? What are you looking for? Why not? Because a lot of guys would say, I told you, I'm like, Pedro, this is a really big bear. Go ahead, grab your rifle, set up, shoot it, you know? And but you didn't want that. You didn't want that to be your experience. And I get it, because I think a lot of people who don't get to hunt very often don't understand it. But people who have had a lot of time to hunt, a lot of opportunities, getting a big animal is not the
reason.
Yeah, it's not the reason.
Yeah, like some of the comments on the video is like, no, he might have regret that. Honestly, I didn't regret it at all, because I travel all the way there to have a hunt. So it often, and actually it happens to me more often now, like every time you are going to shoot an animal, you are like excited because you're going to harvest it, but it also means that your hunt is over. So it's like you are aiming to animals like, I really want the animal, but at the same time, I'm finishing my hunt here. And my excitement and my worries, and like, so there is that balance between I really want to keep hunting and I'm going to finish my hunt now. And early on the hunt, I always recommend to everyone, like, if you have a good opportunity early on the hunt, take it, because it might be the only one. But I have wasted so many opportunities at the beginning because I honestly didn't travel all the way there for that. And I think that you need some time to understand the animal and to really appreciate what you're shooting. I wouldn't have appreciated that bear as much as the bear we shot at the end. Like, my feeling would have been completely different. And even if it's the same animal or smaller, the sensation and the feeling is way different. I mean, it's risky. Probably I wouldn't have passed it on day 3, but the first day it was like... And for me, honestly, I was as happy as you were of you taking the shot and being there and all that. I mean, like, I really enjoyed that. So
I hear what you're saying. When I was hunting with lampers not too long ago, I have passed on a number of deer, nice muley bucks, really nice muley bucks. But it's on the first 2 or 3 days of a 10 or 12 day hunt, and the area you're in, that might be the biggest buck I see the whole time, but there's always a chance that there's something just truly magnificent that you see as well. And for me, and I've said this on a number of videos, like you just said, once I kill something and I punch my tag, the hunt is over, and I have to weigh the balance of, do I want that animal and that thing, enough to justify my hunt being over. And there's something about having a tag in your pocket and a hunt still going on that's just more rewarding in many ways than actually taking the animal. So as time has gone by and I've enjoyed the chase and the hunt so much, the passion for the hunt, I've begun shooting fewer animals and passing on animals because I still want an experience. And if I go home without anything at all, which happens to me more than it used to, I'm okay with it because I still got that adventure.
No, and I think when you understand or you learn to appreciate the little things and you forget about, like, my main focus is to kill this animal, you start enjoying things more. Like, especially I think on international trips, they are expensive, you have limited time, there is a lot of pressure, you are traveling and all that. Is not the same like if you are hunting close to home for a roe deer or whatever, that you are like, if I don't kill it, I'll come next week and keep hunting. Sometimes you have so much pressure about killing that animal or hunting that animal and not coming empty-handed or whatever, that you are missing out on stuff. So you have to say, like, especially on bow hunts, because with the rifle, the good thing is that if you get one opportunity, you make it happen. Yeah. With the bow, you need several. And I have been in some hunts that 1 day, 2 days, 7 days, and you haven't got a single opportunity. So it's like, this is not looking good. But if you overthink stuff and you miss the point about traveling over there, I think you don't enjoy as much. You have a lot of pressure when you're hunting. You make stupid mistakes. So I think it's important to understand that the important thing is it's everything.
Well, when I look at, for example, the bear I shot on the first day that you saw, I shoot it. I've been on a lot of bear hunts, tons. So to shoot a big bear like that on day one, I didn't feel like I missed anything. It was great. I loved it. But when we were out and you killed your bear almost on the last day of the hunt, that was a totally different feeling, completely different. The excitement, the stalk, we spotted that thing from so far away. We put the sneak on. We got on top of it. You know, it was very predator-like, you know, and then we got there. We got set up. You got ready. And when it happened, it was triumphant. Like there was a real strong feeling of a totally different feeling. Like we didn't think it was going to happen, maybe. I mean, it was tough. But when you took that bear, you had an appreciation for bear hunting that you would have missed out on for sure on the first day.
You know, it was amazing. It was on day 8. And on 8 days from shooting your bear on the first day to the day 8, we didn't see any bears. It's not that we were passing on many bears. I mean, we saw a lot of small ones, and we had that one that Brady almost shoot at or whatever, but it wasn't like a target-rich environment. It was like, I'm always surprised about America. There is no game. It's like, I can't believe I'm controlling so much ground and there is no game. Like in Europe, you will see hundreds of animals. But here, like, there is nothing. And you walk to the next valley and there is nothing. So we were kind of worried.
Yeah. Which happens.
So the pressure when I was behind the rifle.
Some people, they look at our hunts and we kill bears. We manage to get bears. Usually every year we all manage to tag out and get bears. But there are many, both mule deer, elk, and bear hunts that we don't get anything. It's not, or 2 out of 3 of us get something, or 1 out of 3. They're not easy hunts. They're tough hunts, but that's why we try to spend 10 days or more doing it, and, you know, we work hard. But these are not, there's easier places to kill bears than where we go.
And I'm glad we went there, because, like, I honestly, for some reason, I didn't have a huge appreciation for bears. It's not like I had a lot of animals that there is something about the animals, like mule deer. I really want to shoot a mule deer.
Yeah.
All my life reading to Randy Ulmer, I need to hunt a mule deer in Velvet in Colorado. Or Nevada or something. You know, like I really want to do that. But black bears, they were fun and they were interesting. But after this hunt, when I saw that bear, like I could have never imagined. I would have been so happy and so emotional. I mean, it was such an experience to shoot a black bear with a rifle.
Yeah, it's that's why we're excited about filming these black bear hunts and showing people, you know, what's out there, because there's a lot of bear hunting opportunity, and people complain every year about not having enough tags available. Most bear tags you can just buy over the counter. You don't need a draw. You can do multiple bear hunts. You know, you could do 2 or 3 states and hunt many bears, and the bears are awesome to watch. They're just really cool animals, and they live in some of the most crazy places up where the mountain goats and the sheep are. And to me, as far as an like a blue collar, you know, budget do it yourself hunt, that's a high adventure type hunt. Bear hunting is in the U.S. in some of these places is that kind of hunt. And I think often when you grow up with something in your backyard and you don't value it, it's just because you don't really understand how remarkable it is. It's the same thing for elk. You know, for years I wanted to go hunt everything but elk for a while because I grew up hunting elk. I always did elk. Then after going around the world and chasing a few different animals and getting a mountain goat and going and hunting moose in Alaska and doing a bunch of other hunts, I'm like, I just want to hunt elk. Like the very thing that's the most affordable, most accessible, and in my backyard, and that I can do every year. Ironically, is now I'm kind of come full circle to where I really appreciate it, and I didn't before.
No, and I think, I don't know, but like I feel like a lot of you guys, since you have grown up having so many opportunities, so much public land, so much easy access to hunting. Like when you are from another country and we have like limited access, it's expensive. You have sometimes to go with a guide. The thing that we did, that we were 4 friends with no one else. We could do whatever we want. We could, I mean, like, you want to go that way? Okay, let's go that way. Like, no one is controlling you. You can go as far as you want. You can hike as hard as you want. That's amazing and really affordable. So it's like, I don't know. I wish we had those opportunities here.
Yeah. One thing that's really cool is, we talked just briefly. I watched one of your films. I liked it. I was like, Pedro, you got to come to the U.S. and, we got to hunt together. And you're like, all right, let's see. And within like a month or so, you're in the United States. We get tags. We go out and we do the hunt, and then you go home. It's a very affordable hunt for anyone, like even you.
And that's a lesson for everyone. You don't have to invite me because I will say yes and I will go. So don't invite me with a small, like, hey, you can come. Like, yeah, when? Like, when? In 2 weeks? Yeah, I got the tickets.
No, I'm glad you did. I'm so glad you did. I've been watching your content for years. I remember the first time, I think I published a corny hunting video in 2014 or 15, and I put it on my YouTube channel. And you went onto my channel. So this was like 7 years ago. And you said, I'm an effing fan. And you typed that out. And I was like, who is this? And I looked it up and I could see Pedro Ampuero. Who is that? And then I went and looked you up and started following some of your content. And I was like, oh, this is really cool content. We didn't have a lot between us at the time. But then over the years, yeah, it was Gritty Bowman.
And what was the name of your buddy? You had a couple of...
Anthony and Ben.
Yeah, Ben, yeah.
My cousin Ben. And we just recorded hunts and made jokes and hung out and laughed. And then I started to follow you, and you continued to progress. And then over the last few years, I'm just a big fan. I get to watch. I honestly feel like a lot of the hunting film that's out there, I'm not that interested in. The quality isn't good enough, or the editing isn't appealing. It's okay. And you provide something that's at a higher quality level, which I really enjoy. And you're doing it with a bow, and you're doing it with a bow in difficult country, like difficult places. And so I've been sitting there watching from afar for a while and thinking, and then watching, I'm like, Pedro, this video should have way more views than it does. Pedro's films should get more eyeballs on it. So should a lot of these hunts. And that's one of the reasons I wanted you to come here, was so that you could be introduced to more people in the United States that would know who Pedro is and follow your content and appreciate it. But we talked about this. It's difficult for people to relate to a hunt in Mongolia. And
no, I completely understand it. Like it's hunts that animals that you don't know, animals that you may not hunt never in your life. So, and I think that's one of the transitions we're trying to do on our films, is to try to not just show the hunt, but try to share why that animal is special. Like more like to not teach, but like to explain what that animal, how it's, so you can. Because I think one of the cool things about traveling around is that you get to learn from a lot of people, and a lot of different brains and ways of hunting and all that. And that, I think, it has taught me a lot about over the years, and some of the tactics you can apply to other hunting scenarios. So, yeah, so to try to get those destinations that maybe some people will never go, to try to get them closer to people. But And I highly appreciate you and for all the support over the years. You know that I have been a huge fan of your content. So,
well, I need to get back into the bow hunting. A lot more bow hunting. It was hard when I didn't have a cameraman. I filmed everything by myself and I edited everything by myself. And it's hard to self-film archery hunts. And Lampers is a good hunting partner. And as we hunted more together, and he's a big fan of rifle hunting in late season, archery hunting in early season. But the archery hunts are hard to film it's a self-film. And so...
No, and even to film.
Yeah, to film
like
at
to
all.
To film it properly, like not properly, but to film the kill shot.
Yeah.
Properly, it's really hard.
Yes.
Because to be two guys under 50 yards or whatever of the animal, wait for, I don't know the amount of time, like either you are not ready or the camera is like getting the angle and you lose time and it's ready. It's way harder than I think what people think.
I agree. And I tried to film a number of bow hunts and what you're describing, like either the cameraman didn't grow up hunting his whole life. And so the cameraman is back there filming. They're good at running a camera, but they really have no idea how much movement, how much sound, how much they can get away with. And if you haven't spot and stalked and if you haven't been a successful bow hunter for a lot of years, it's very difficult for a cameraman to film in that under 50-yard mark and know what to do and what they can get away with. And after a number of hunts sort of got blown by cameramen moving or doing this or doing that, I was kind of tired of trying to film bow hunts at that point. And then there are some where the wind just changes or I just make a mistake. It's not all on the cameraman. I had plenty of times that it was all on me, but that's the nature of bow hunting in general. But when you try to add a cameraman into the mix on top of what's already difficult, man, it's no fun. I mean, it's tough.
Yeah, and I think you have to have the camera and rely so much on the camera that when you are drawing back, you don't even need to ask if he sees the animal. Like he needs to see the hunting scenario the same as you and know what is the shooting window, when you're going to shoot, when you're going to draw. He needs to have that experience. Because I think like when you are shooting an animal, you have to be in your mode of like measuring, drawing back, shooting, executing the shot. And if you're worried about if the camera has it and you're at full draw and you look, disaster. Like
I agree.
When you look at full draw and you look over and you wait, are you ready? Like you start putting torque, you are not aligned, you rush the shot, bad things.
When I hunted with Brad Hunt, Brad has killed, he kills elk every year. So he's done it. He's been in the zone, in bow range on bulls every year. And he doesn't hunt a lot of days, a few weekends in a row, and he finally gets it done. So it's not like Brad. Brad just knows how to sneak and how to be stealthy and get in there and what to do. And so Brad filmed me and I filmed Brad. And we ended up with some incredible archery footage. And Brad being over my shoulder and I being over his shoulder with the camera, and the two of us just knew when to move, when to be quiet. You can't just on day one know how to move, sneak, what you can get away with, what you can't, how painstakingly slow you have to move in a stalking situation. That's something that you only get from experience, from doing it. And so Brad didn't know how to run a camera, but he knew how to kill with a bow. And so I found it's easier to teach someone, as far as for filming bow hunts, it's easier to take a bow hunter and teach them how to run a camera than to take a cameraman and teach them how to hunt.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So now I feel like we have the right combination to actually film, some great bow hunts. So that's the goal. I see you do it. I'm watching your stuff. I'm taking notes, and I want to elevate our game in the archery space. So we'll see how this year goes. But I'm putting in the time and the dedication. So we'll see if it pays off. If I can.
Do you have
do it.
Do you have many bow hunts
I have
coming, or?
I have an archery mule deer hunt right now with my dad starting in a few days.
Cool.
It's not a great hunt. We'll see if we could go up there and not find anything. It's just a simple tag. Then I am going to Alaska with Ryan Lampers to hunt moose and caribou. And I've already killed a few moose with my rifle. So I'm bringing my bow, and I'm going to try to do it all with a bow. And if I don't get anything, I don't get anything. I've already got moose, So I am bringing a rifle because I can take 2 caribou. So I might just take 1 caribou with a rifle. And then after that, another one with a bow, and then moose. But my focus is I really want moose with a bow. That's what I want.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. Your moose film
Love
is
moose.
sick.
The thing about moose is that they are way harder than what people think.
Yeah.
There is so many people hunting moose every year that out of 1,000 guys, there's always 10 guys that they get the moose coming like a stupid animal. But like to be that guy, it requires so much time.
Yeah, I agree. I remember I've been out. I went with Dustin Rowe in Cassiar Mountains to hunt moose. I was in moose
with Adam, right?
With
was
Adam.
a hunt with Adam? Yeah.
Yep. And Adam was one of those that got that moose to just walk right up to him and 17 yards or something and shot it. I spot and stalked 3 times. I had 3 stalks, and I was under 40 yards each time. But the brush is so thick, I was having trouble getting a shot window. And, one time I was like 38 yards, and I waited, and this bull had 3 cows with it. And I waited like 3 hours trying to get this bull to stand up. I could have shot any of the cows, and then the wind switched and he ran off. And so that's just how bow hunting is. But I felt like, so then I shot a bull on the last day with a rifle because I wanted to get a moose. But now that I've done that, I'm ready to do it with a bow. So I got an elk tag, archery elk tag. That's my bow hunts. So hopefully I can get an elk, I can get a moose, get a caribou.
You have a lot of work to do, buddy.
We'll find a way. But you know how it is on those Alaskan hunts. You could go the whole time and not see a single moose. I mean,
the first trip I did to the Yukon with my bow, I actually went with my longbow. So imagine how, how not easy, but I thought it might as well, if I'm going to shoot the moose at 15 yards, why not shoot it with the longbow? So I was like, I'm going to shoot it with the longbow. I didn't see a moose in 15 days. I only saw one, running 600 yards away, and that was it in 15 days. I was like, and my dad was like, did you learn the lesson, son?
Yeah.
Never underestimate a real hunt.
That's how I feel about, this trip. It's like, great. I hope we find a moose and I can do a nice stalk, and same with the caribou. But I've been to Alaska, and you could go a full 10 days and not see any animal. And then you can go another 10 days and it's great. And it's so vast. But like you said, the animal density is surprisingly low. In some of the most wild places, you'd think there's just so much country. There's animals everywhere, but it's not.
But the winters, you have to go there in winter.
Yes.
In January, what the fuck will be any animals living in here?
Right. And then you realize why there's not so many animals. Is that winter is brutal. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. We'll see how it goes. Either way, I'm gonna start looking for more and more archery opportunities. That's the goal. So Brad is going out and capturing and doing. He has 2 elk tags, so we're gonna try to film Brad. We're gonna film Ryan has a couple of elk tags with his bow. So it's not just me that has some tags. We have more in our crew that have tags, and I'll be filming those guys. So I think we'll come up with some good archery content when we're done. And for me, it's awesome. I just love archery hunting, period. And I just want to dive more into it than we have. But it's really archery hunts take more dedication, that's for sure, because what you can do in 5 days with a rifle could take 15 days with a bow. You need more opportunities, more days.
Filming rifle hunts are great.
Yeah, it is, right?
2023, we need to make the commitment of a mule deer hunt.
Yes.
We may get to get Brady to join us. We are not sure. We need to decide that. if we bring Brady as a spotter or not, but we need to get Brady into bow hunting again.
Yeah, we do. We need to put a hunt on the books for sure and do another one. Tell me this, Pedro. You've traveled the world. You've been to some wild places. Okay, what was the most dangerous or the scariest hunt you've been on, where you felt like you may not have come home?
So I think it was in France in the Alps. We booked this hunt in the middle of the winter for hunting chamois, and the amount of snow was like crazy. So the guy is like, you cannot use like how do you call snowshoes? Mm-hmm. I mean, like we cannot hike. We can either use snowshoes or skis.
Yeah.
But skis will be way easier to hunt with the skis. I told him, I have never skied before. Like, yeah, okay, good. It's not that difficult. And we get into this 5-6 day, not backpack hunt, because there was like a cabin up on top with the skis, and hiking up with the skis was easy, like backcountry skiing. But when we arrived to the top after 5 hours with the heavy pack, and the guy is like, yeah, now we're going to go down. Like, I told you, like, I don't know how to ski. Like, I was serious. I have never skied in my life. He's like, are you fucking serious? He's like, Pedro, you're hiking, you're in the mountains every single day of the year, hiking and running and all that, and you don't know how to ski. Like, no, I told you. Like, so you're going to learn now. Starting that hunt, like, skiing down for my first time in my life, in powder, in the dark, between trees, and with a heavy pack, was like super scary. I made it to the cabin. It was great. It was a freaking pain to hunt with the skis because it was really tough. I mean, it was amazing. Like, I'm taking lessons now. But the thing is that there was so much snow that the chamois were like only hanging on the cliffs, because on the cliff faces there is so much, like the snow cannot hold on the cliff faces, so they can get access to food. So when I shot my chamois, it was like crazy angle down or whatever with my bow, shot it, and it ran down. And I'm like, whoa, we didn't think about this, right? Because like where it ran, it was scary. Like, what the hell are we gonna do now? It's like, was it a good shot? It's like, it looked like a good shot. There was blood on the snow, but like, I don't know. It's like, okay, let's fly the drone. Mm-hmm. And try to see if we can see the chamois with the drone, because like it was like honestly like that.
Yeah.
So we fly the drone out. We start looking with the drone around, and finally find the chamois that was dead inside a cave on a wall that honestly was like that. So the guy is like, "Okay, great. We're gonna have to rappel down." It's like, I don't know. I have never rappelled down in my life either. So. It's going to be my first time.
That's scary, dude.
Hey, I'm getting goosebumps just by thinking about it.
Yeah.
You want to imagine how dry my mouth was? Because the guy just put the rope. It was Philippe, and I was with a friend also. We were hunting, the three of us. He puts the rope on a cattle fence that was probably there since, I don't know, since 2 centuries ago or whatever, like typical rotten cattle fence. stuck in the snow. And he puts the rope there. It's like, feels strong. It's like, hey, buddy, I'm 200 pounds. I know that you're like a small French, super skinny mountain guide that weighs 100 pounds, but I'm 200.
Yeah.
So do you think it's going to hold? Yeah, no problem. And if it fails, it has wire to the other post. It's like, oh, yeah, it sounds... Now I feel much better. Yeah, thank you. So we start rappelling down with the crampons against the rocks. Full hanging, so it's not like we were not using ropes to make it safer, like a bad spot. No, it was like full exposed rappel.
Right.
Is it called rappel, right, or not?
Rappel. Yep.
Yeah, rappel.
Rappelling down the mountain. So you're just free hanging. There is no. You're hanging out over the ledge. So as you went down, is there video of this?
I need to put it together.
Okay.
I have it filmed, but I haven't put the video together. My friend, my buddy Raul was on top. He's like, I'm going to film from the top. I think it's better if one of us stay on the top.
That's really cool. I've done a lot of rock climbing, a lot of rappelling. I'm pretty comfortable with it. I did it for like years and years and years.
I wasn't. I mean, like the video, I'm pretty sure that it's embarrassing because I was dropping down 1 inch at a time. It was like the guy like, come on, like.
So did you have an ascender to climb back up?
We had so I rappelled down with a gree, which I think you are not supposed to. So it's better to use like a basket or whatever because the gree, actually the rope was a smaller diameter than the minimum of the gree. And I didn't have a safety thing on the top, so it could have just slide off. So now after taking some climbing lessons, I understand the risks.
Yeah. You're saying a figure eight. I mean, that's what we used back in the 80s, and that's kind of all there was, you know. I mean,
yep.
But a skinny rope and a figure eight. Did you have it wrapped behind you? Did you feel like?
So we had the gree, the one that it's like an automatic that you have like a lever. That you open the lever and it just slides.
Oh.
So it's not typically for self-rappelling down, but it's more for like ensuring your body when it's going up.
Gotcha.
But the rope to be blocked when you makes a strong push, it needs to be certain diameter, and the rope was actually thinner. No, it's more for ensuring someone. So when you are giving rope to your hunting partner and you're on the ground,
when you're
so if he falls, it will block. So it's not meant for what we were doing. And actually, to be safe, you should put like tie a knot.
Yeah. So
behind the rope, so in case
the end of the rope. Yeah.
You slop.
Yeah, that's not good, Pedro. That's not.
I learned that afterwards. So I always wanted to do this mountaineering training, and I have been postponing it for years. I mean, like this was I need to do that because I may be making stupid choices in the mountains. So.
How did you ascend back up the rope? What tool did you use?
So we had one of those things that is like a handle that you lift up and it will block.
Yeah.
And with a flat rope that will get into your feet. Yep. So we will ascend, hold, ascend it, put the feet, stand up on yourself. So it was a pain. And we had this full chamois. We took the full chamois out, so
you didn't have two. Process. You didn't have two ascenders. You just had one.
Yep.
And you guys don't really. If you have one around your waist and then one around your foot, you slide up. You know your foot.
I mean, we had the gree.
Yeah, that sucks.
That it blocked. So I mean, it was a slow process. We had to rappel 2 segments, so it was pretty scary. And if you know how to do it, I would have enjoyed that recovery a lot.
Yeah.
But I enjoy it so.
Yeah.
You know, like,
dude,
mouth super dried. My body shot a second chamois 2 days later, and we ran out of rope to recover the chamois.
Oh. Yeah.
So the sentence Raul, my buddy said, is like, I really enjoyed this trip, but remember, I'm not going to do it again. Because it's just like...
Well, that's how Ryan and I felt about New Zealand. You know, we went up there and to New Zealand, and where we killed these tahr, we didn't know what we were doing with mountaineering. Like, I had done a lot of rock climbing, but I didn't bring a rope to go hunt tahr. I didn't bring a pickaxe. And here we are on these snowy, steep slopes with these 500-foot falls. If you slide, nothing to stop you once you start to slide before you just fall off of a cliff. And it was just stupid. All of it was just stupid. We were not experienced in that way and hadn't prepared. And, you know, now I have a lot of the equipment that I would use that makes the difference between, you know, life and death.
And it's also easier because when I started using like crampons and an ice axe, some of the guys were like, no, Pedro is for the looks or whatever. But when you use crampons, like hiking on the snow, it's way easier. Like your foot doesn't slide even an inch. So you're like, pump. You are safer. It's less tiring and all that. So it's not for but it looks like for hunting. No, that's mountaineering. That's not hunting. It's like, I don't know.
Nice. Yeah, I even use those micro spikes on dirt.
But there is some Petzls, aluminum crampons that are ultralight with ropes, that they are lighter than those spikes.
Oh, I got to check that out. Send me a Petzl micro spike.
No, it's not a micro spike. So it's
crampon.
like a crampon, but it's aluminum and it has the connection is by ropes. They are super light and they are lighter than the spike chains or whatever. So it's like, why I'm gonna carry a spike chain when I can bring something lighter and safer? So
I'm gonna check it out. I just got some pickaxes. I just got an 8-ounce Petzl ice axe.
what? Oh, really?
It's 8 ounces. Some of these areas where we're digging out deer beds, like on stopes, to camp on the side of the hill. And if you get some rain coming down, you can dig a trench around your shelter, things like that. There are some areas where it's just so steep and there is no flat spot. And we usually just kind of carve up a stick or carve up a something to like kick out the hillside. But I'm gonna, for 8 ounces, I might try this tool instead. I mean, it's really not light.
I have one from STHEALTHY that actually we used to carry through Cuyo that it's like adjustable, the pole, but they stopped making those STHEALTHY.
I'm gonna check it out.
I think they had like a claim or whatever. Like maybe some people, since it was an ice axe, they were using it for the wrong purpose. So there was something about warranty and safety. You know, it's a trekking ice axe, but if used wrong, it can get someone in trouble because that adjustable pole, if you hold it, it will slide off. So I don't know, and they stopped making them.
Well, Pedro, we're running up here on our time clock here. You got to get packed because you're going to be leaving to Greenland.
Yeah.
So where can people get a hold of you, Pedro? They can follow you on Instagram.
Yeah, so we are doing mostly on Instagram and on YouTube. So Pedro Ampuero Hunting Adventures or something like that. It's on YouTube, and on Instagram it's Pedro. Yeah,
I'll put links. I put links in the films as well, so you can find them there. But go follow Pedro. Go watch Pedro's hunting films. I'm going to put some more in this week's film and point people to some more good stuff. I like that one. I think it's Pakistan where they chase the ibex to you.
The ibex? Yeah, that was a unique experience.
Crazy. That was crazy. You did not want to do it either. You're like, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
and
but
then,
when you experience that rush, you're like, I want to do it this way. I have hunted, spot and stock many animals, but this is like amazing.
Yeah, it was cool.
Animals jumping, throwing rocks. So yeah.
I loved it. So, all right, brother. I appreciate you coming on here. Let's do it again soon, real soon, actually. Maybe in a couple weeks when you're back, let's do another one of these because I'm not done talking.
I'm looking forward to the last episode. I haven't seen it yet, so I'm too bad that I'm going to be able to join the premiere. But thanks a lot for everything, and thanks a lot for being how you are.
All right, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Stay gritty.
Stay gritty.